Just want to ask you, 53rd minute last night, Colin Martin gets a red card. Everything goes crazy from there on out. Tell me what happened, if you will.
Yeah, well, obviously they had just scored a goal. We had kicked the ball off, and I think we were making an attempt to attack, and the ball went into the box. Junior Fleming's, was competing for the ball, went to the ground. It almost looked to me as if he was trying to get a penalty. They cleared the ball out. The referee blew the whistle and went straight to one of their players with a red card. I had no idea what was going on. We thought that if he blew the whistle with the red card, that it would be a penalty and that something else had happened. But it didn't. And about, I'd say probably, 5-10 seconds after he gave the red card, the opposition, the players, frantically surrounded the referee, which is very normal in soccer. Mm-hmm. Again, I still had no idea what was going on. And then I think one or two of their players somehow got over to the sideline. I was talking to my staff and trying to find out what was going on, what we were going to do at halftime. Primarily with Damien, we had an injured player, and how we were going to manage the rest of the game. Then, then their coach, Landon, went out onto the field and he went out and stormed out onto the field. He said, "Not again." And as he was going onto the field, he was yelling at the fourth official saying, "You heard it, you heard it." And I still didn't know what they were talking about. He got out on the field and started, having a conversation or yelling at the referee. That continued for quite a while. The referee, I think, was trying to make his way out of the group. I stayed in the coach's box, which is what's expected of us, and waited for an explanation, and generally the referee brings the two coaches together and explains these situations. And, Landon continued to voice his opinion or what was going on. And still at that point, I had no idea what was going on. Finally, the referee gets to halftime, calls halftime, and he and Landon walk over to the officials table. And that's the first time the referee had tried to explain to me what he didn't hear and did hear. And then it became very confusing. And, Landon is shouting at the referee. He was shouting at me. I still wasn't sure what had happened. I was trying to figure out what was going on. And I was worried about our team. I was thinking about the red card and how did they get a red card rescinded? I was thinking about, our players and what was going to transpire after that. And in no way, shape, or form was I, ready or prepared for Landon telling me what he thought had happened. And he said that, he called him gay. And I was trying to de-escalate the situation just to get the facts from the referee. And I said something along the lines of like, how long have you been in soccer? And how long have you been a part of soccer? And it was really, the statement was because I was so flabbergasted with what was going on. I was so surprised. I was so shocked. I was focused on everything else except that. And, from the beginning of the season here at Phoenix Rising, we talk about our values. I'm a coach that we have core values: integrity, loyalty, commitment, hard work ethic, enjoyment. And we pick players, hopefully, that have these values. And what I said has been misconstrued in a way that, makes me seem as if I don't care about the LGBTQ community, which is the farthest thing from the truth. We support everybody here at Phoenix Rising. We support all the groups, and we support it's soccer. And I'm deeply regret, what I said in the moment without having all of the facts. We continue to investigate now, and it's an ongoing investigation about what happened on the field at the time. If any one of our players, if it comes out that he did say that, or he said something disparaging, I think that's reprehensible, and I'm deeply sorry to the player and the fans and all those that are affected. For me, in the heat of the moment, it's if there's anything I could do and learn from, it's to maybe not overreact and not get so defensive of the players, but wait to see what all the facts come out. But after all of that, I spoke to Junior, and Junior told me he didn't say it, and he denied it right there. I work with this young man every day, and I was in a serious quandary. I have, one person yelling at me saying this is what happened, and I have a player denying what happened, and I just chose to, listen. I had to support my team and support our players, and then after the game, we had another conversation, and he told me, Coach, I didn't say it. They've continued to do an investigation. So as things come out, I'm sure I will learn whether I was lied to or not, and the situation I was put in. But the last 14 to 16 hours has been very difficult for my family. But I also understand and I regret, the statement, no matter what I meant, because I'm not that kind of person.
Rick, that's the statement. Of course, we had such sketchy information on ESPN last night, watching it from afar, and the announcers talking over the top of things, and that's the one that went viral. And people were accusing you of not being, I guess, supportive of the LGBTQ community, and saying, Landon, don't you understand this happens all the time, is the way people were interpreting that.
Yeah, I definitely could see when you listen to just that single clip and you look at just that single moment in time. And that's, I think what is so frustrating to me as a person is that this happens in the world now. This is the world we live in with social media, and it still doesn't excuse the fact that I was trying to defend the indefensible, possibly, but it's definitely something that I'm frustrated by, because I think we weren't even on the bus, and it was all over the world, and we were being, prosecuted, and nobody took the time to ask questions. Nobody gave Junior, whether he said this or not, no one gave him due process. We're standing in a stadium that has Black Lives Matter posted everywhere. And they constantly talk about, supporting it, supporting Black Lives Matter, supporting everything. And here they are not allowing this guy to have his say, and not allowing anyone to ask the questions before we pass judgment. I think that was the frustrating part. And for me, it was, an immediate, in the heat of the moment, reaction to support my player. And still, for him to deny it, and to deny it to me, look me in the eye and to deny it, I felt as if I had no other choice but to support him. But I wish I would have said something a little bit different. I don't think that there should be homophobic slurs anywhere, in any sport. It's not part of soccer at all. And I hope that people understand that about me.
Rick, I think your statement on Twitter last night late was the fact that you were more referring to Landon going out on the pitch and standing out there when that's not allowed by coaches. Is that more of what you were talking about at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was really concentrated on the fact that they had a red card, which could have been beneficial to us, and we were losing 3-1. for them to get a red card at halftime, and then for Landon to go on the field and to get another red card created an environment where I thought this could be beneficial to us. So I wasn't focused on why this was happening. And I think that was, that was partially why I responded the way that I did, because I was really trying to calm it down, get to halftime, let the referee sort things out and get on with the game. But I do agree with Landon, and if the homophobic slur was stated, that there's no place in football for it. And I agree that, something should be done about it. After the investigation, we'll see. But I was definitely in a position where I was focused on their behavior and the referee's handling of the situation. He was so nervous and so scared. He wasn't sure if he heard it, what he heard. He said, the first thing he said to me is, I didn't hear him say it. And then it was, well, I heard him say something in a different language. So for me, the whole scenario was, how do I protect Junior? And made the wrong decision, I think, in poor choice of words and in the heat of the moment. But I think that we should have waited to find out more facts.
Landon said last night that they came out after halftime and he talked to the referee first and said, if you don't pull Junior from the game, we don't want to go out there. Can you do that? And he said the referee told him, he said, I don't understand that other language. I'm not familiar with what was said. I didn't hear everything. And then Landon said he went to you and said, will you pull Junior? Because if you don't, then we have to act.
Yeah, no, Landon came to me and he said, this is not on you. He said, I'm not putting this on you, but if you don't sub Junior out, we're not going to finish the game. And my immediate thought was, how can I accept guilt for Junior when Junior told me he didn't say it? And if I were to sub him out, I would be accepting guilt for him for something that I don't even know, I didn't know about. So I told Landon that I couldn't sub him out at that moment. And, then they chose to walk off the field. But it really came down to, after Junior telling me he didn't say it, I couldn't blame him or say that he was guilty without giving him due process.
How are you and Landon now? I mean, how are you guys after this?
We really didn't get a chance to speak. I was fortunate that some of our ownership was in attendance, and I was able to speak to them a little bit and make sure that our players were okay, and cleaned up the locker room area, and we got on the bus, and I told them that we would address it when we got back to the hotel and in the morning. And I sent a message to Landon this morning and told him that I'd take this very seriously, and once the investigation is completed, that I know our club would not stand for any sort of homophobic slurs. And but again, they're doing a thorough investigation, and they're speaking to everybody that was involved.
Colin Martin came out with a statement just a little bit ago, Rick, saying it did happen, and he knows it was Junior, and he did hear it, and he's standing by what he said happened last night.
Yeah, I just saw that, and I'm again, if this is true, I feel horrible for Colin. He doesn't deserve that. And but again, Junior has said that it didn't happen, so I don't. It's just a horrible situation, and there's no place for it in football. And when the investigation is completed, I think then I could pass judgment. But right now, I feel bad for Colin, because it puts him in an awful position as well.
And I understand that Loyal just went through something similar to this a week ago with LA Galaxy, right? So they're coming off a Galaxy player using the N-word with one of their players. So they would be hypersensitive to anything at this point.
Yeah, that's actually what Landon and I spoke about before the game, is that they had a really tough week. They were spending a lot of time in meetings and discussing how they should react and what they should do, if that were ever to happen again. And, uh, that's awful, awful. So, when he's having these conversations with me and telling me, he asked me, and I said, listen, if anyone were to say something like that to our player, I would expect the players to handle it right then and there, those that were around it, and referring to the racism, and I kind of, like I said, I'm if it was said, and I don't disrespect them for what they did. I don't disrespect them at all. And if it was said, I think that it's awful and it doesn't belong in football at all.
What happens with Junior at this point? And I know the investigation is ongoing, but what happens with Junior? Will he play Saturday night? Do you even know at this point?
While there's an ongoing investigation, I don't think it would be right to play him at all. I don't think it would be right to expose him or the club to that type of scrutiny. So, until I hear from the club, the league, on which way, the decision that they're going to make and what the investigation turns out, I think I have to kind of stand pat a little bit and before I make that decision.
I can tell in just talking to you, Rick, this is really weighing heavy on you.
Well, let's put it this way. It doesn't hurt because I feel bad for myself. It hurts because I don't think people, in the last 14 to 16 hours, what people think of me, as opposed to what I've worked hard in my career to do, and the person I've wanted to be, and the leader I've wanted to be, and the qualities and the character and the values that I expect out of my players. It was all undone in 30 seconds. And it does hurt a lot. But my father's a great man, and he told me, you get up and you dust yourself on and you keep going. I'll learn, I'll improve. But I definitely apologize to the LBGT community for anything that I may have said that was insulting in any way.
What happens the next couple of days? You're back on the pitch Saturday night.
Yeah, I told the boys this morning that I'll do everything I can with the ownership and with the club to handle what's going on, but they need to get back together. The assistant coaches and the staff are really, really focused on training for tomorrow and LA Galaxy 2 for Saturday night. And the players, I had a long talk with them this morning before we traveled and told them that I was sorry that they were all in this position. And, I really appreciated their support and their love. We're a family. And when we make mistakes, I think we have to understand when we make a mistake. But at the same time, we got to get all the facts.
How are you with Bobby and the ownership group now?
The owners have been supportive. They understand the situation, and I think that everybody knows in these difficult moments that we have to do what's right, and we have to make the right decisions. The board is at this club is amazing and fantastic. They're good people, and they've told me that they'll put their time and effort into finding out what really happened on the field, and they would support me speaking with you.
I appreciate you doing that, Rick. Honestly, I know how tough it is. I can't imagine how tough it is, and I appreciate you doing it. I really felt like it was important for you to share your thoughts and let people know where you're at in this thing, because we've heard from Landon, we've heard from the owners over there, we've heard from other people. I just really felt like it was important to hear from you.
I appreciate that. When you're emotional and you're in these moments, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a PR guy, I'm a football coach, and I love my team, I love my players, and these are difficult moments, and so I appreciate having the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, Rick, best of luck to you. And how How do you anticipate USL doing it? You anticipate anything happening in the next day or two, or what do you think?
Well, they said they hopefully they would have something before Saturday. So they're good. They're good people. I support the league. I've always supported the league. You know, this has been the most difficult year, and for them to even get to this point this year, I think with all of what's gone on with COVID and all the social injustice, I think the league has been fantastic. So I have no doubt that they'll do their due diligence and get back to us soon.